We're going to have a little fun in my presentation. I have 5 1-ounce silver coins I'm going to throw out to you, and I promise I won't whip them hard, but these are the Silver Bull from Mike Maloney. This has his own personal motto on the back, and the Pegasus coin, which is also a exclusive gold-silver product that you can't even buy right now. So I can actually give this out. It will be available later. And the first question is, where does my title come from? I'm going to make you rich, but Fox comes from where? Who said it? Right there. Come and get it. You want a Silver Bull or a Pegasus? You get a Pegasus. Okay. I think gold and silver will be the next asset bubble. So why do I think that? Because I think gold is fit to rise, and maybe this acronym will help you a little bit. It helps me a lot. F stands for finances. Our debt is completely unpayable. The U.S. debt will never be repaid. The U.S. debt will never be repaid, not in current dollars. It's unsustainable. We have bubbles in virtually every segment of our society. Nobel laureate Robert Shiller says, I see bubbles everywhere. People aren't paying attention. This could end badly. Those are exact quotes from what he's saying. We have the resumption of QE. And on top of all that, the backdrop is all the world's currencies are fiat for the first time in history. There are consequences. It could be worse than normal if there is a fallout because of that. I stands for incompetent. Central banks have little room to cut rates. During recessions, the Fed has been known to cut rates 5 percentage points. So from 10% to 5%, 6 to 1. Well, we're at 2. So what's wrong with that picture? How's this going to work in the next recession? Negative government bond yields was a punchline of a joke at a bankers conference 12 years ago. And here we are. Next coin goes to who can tell me in the G20, the G20 is 85% of the global economy. How many in the G20 currently have a balanced budget? It's not 0, actually. How many? 1, that's right. What do you want? You get a Silver Bull. 10 years after the financial crisis and they still can't balance their budget? And T stands for tiny. The gold market is very tiny. There are 10 times more investors, 100 times more currency and credit than in the 1970s bull market. It's even smaller for silver. If institutional investors, just that group, all around the world, put 2% of their assets under management into silver, it would equal 4,250% of all the known above ground silver that exists in investable form. That's not going to work. Has a new gold bull market started? There's a lot of ways you could measure this. This is from a technical analyst I trust. We use them a lot at Casey Research. This is a quarterly chart of the gold price since 1975 when you could first buy gold again. Notice what he says there in the red. The gold quarterly chart has not looked this good since 2001 to 2003, and we all know what happened in 2001 to 2003. Gold and silver have been among the biggest bull markets in history. Taking out Bitcoin, you can see that how much silver and gold rose back in the 1970s. Everybody talks about the dot-com era in 2000. Well, silver outperformed the NASDAQ by twice as much. This chart simply shows you the left bars are the percentage rise in gold and silver during the 1976 to 1980 era. I'm not even going back to 1970. If you apply the same percentage rise in the third set of bars to our current position, silver would be $175, gold $8,800. I'm not saying they're going that high. What I'm saying is that has happened already. These are the 4 major gold bull markets. We've seen actually 3. Ours is in the red. What is the one characteristic about how gold bull markets end? They all pop into a mania. I like this chart because this is the gold stock bull markets. This is from Increment. It goes back to even to the 1940s. Again, the red one is our current bull market. Notice how every gold stock bull market, almost every one, has ended. They've all gone into a parabolic rise. So it's not too late if you're interested in buying gold and gold stocks. I wanted to show this. This is GDX. GDX is only 12 years old, and yet it's already risen 2, 3, and 4 times just in its short little history, okay? If we apply those rises to GDX where it is today, 2 of those 3 would have GDX over $100, and GDX is 27, I believe. Gold stocks normally they're not good investments. They're not good long-term buy and hold type of investments. They're not for orphans and widows. They're horrible investments most of the time, except when they're not. And there are many examples of when they're not. Look at the time period there, the Great Depression, the first line. The gold producers rose an average of 450 to 550%. The Great Depression, gold juniors, I got to tell you this quick story. Bob Hoy, institutional advisors in Vancouver, met a broker who worked in Montreal during the Great Depression. He met him back in the early 1970s. And he told him, there's the quote at the bottom, "Sonny, the gold juniors were so good that in 1933, my best account gave me a brand new Ford Roadster." He made so much money in gold juniors that he gave his broker a car as a tip. 1962 to 1968, not a lot of people know this, silver juniors skyrocketed an average of 150 times, not 150%. The penny silver stocks went up an average of 150 times. 78 to 80, if you just bought the last 2 years of that bull market, the gold producers rose 289%, the juniors 2,300%. Why do gold stocks do so well when gold rises? This is the key, and this is a secret to why I think institutional investors are going to get interested, because free cash flow jumps. The gray bar is gold at $1,400 and the amount of free cash flow gold producers generate at that price. The middle bar, the blue one, is at $1,600 gold. You can see there's a jump of 59% in free cash flow by changing nothing else except that rise in the gold price. The last bar on the right is $1,800 gold, and you can see free cash flow jumps another 37%. So on a move of gold from $1,400 to $1,800, you see free cash flow jump by 90%. That's incredible. And that's going to attract, that's going to flash up on the screen of many brokers and institutional advisors in the mainstream, and that's why they're going to get interested in gold. That's what I think. Okay, let's get into picks. And before I give you what are my picks, I have to ask the question, should you even listen to me? So these are the picks I gave at this very conference last year. Pretium Resources, that's actually from Louis James at International Speculator, independentspeculator.com. That's up over 50%. Gold mining's up 35%. Pure gold's up 12%. Bonterra and GFG are actually down from when I gave them last year. These are very early stage explorers. They haven't found anything yet. That's why they're down. There you go. SilverCrest Metals, 130%. Renaissance Gold has doubled. If you put an average dollar amount, an equal dollar amount, and all those picks last year, that portfolio would be up 40%. Gold's up 22%. Silver's up 26%. So how do we pick what's going to be the gold and silver stock of 2020? What's the criteria we're going to use to try to determine what's that going to be? There are 2 criteria for me. One is I want pre-producers. So I want companies that have identified an economic deposit. They're going to build a mine and put it into production. This is the life cycle of a mine. This particular chart is from Frank Holmes. The green is discovery. The brown is development, permitting, and all that. See the first red circle there, entry. That's the construction decision. If you buy a stock at the construction decision and you hold it to first pour, there's going to be a re-rating. They're going to go from taking money to actually generating money, right? That time period is usually about 18 months. And like I always like to say, between construction decision to first pour, history shows, research shows, we've done the back studies, shows you have a 90% chance of a 90% return in the stock during that average 1.5 year time period. So I want to buy at that red dot. The second thing is I want to focus on is M&A targets. It's getting increasingly easy to identify what's going to be an M&A target, a potential target. So I don't want to read all these, but there's a lot of quotes. There's a lot of people in the industry that are basically saying the same thing. It continues. So the seniors are going to be looking for qualified deposits that attract them because they're going to need them. And so we want to focus on the highest quality projects because majors are going to be looking for them. So we're going to look at developers, prospect generators, and explorers. You should never buy one one mining stock. Marin asked me that in the panel this morning. I didn't really want to answer him. But if you forced me to pick just one stock, this would probably be it, pure gold. Why? Because it's in the sweet spot right now. They just declared construction, they just made a construction decision announcement on August 7th. They'll be in production a year from now. This is the highest grade underground development project in Canada currently right now. The internal rate of return of the Madsen project is 51%. That's very high. It's in a top mining jurisdiction. It's run by Mark O'Day. I actually was the one who inducted him into the Casey Research Explorers League back in the day. So this is someone I think highly of. Best of all, the stock's still undervalued. It hasn't moved that much. Madsen's worth almost $400 million alone. The current market cap's $216. If you like to follow what the big boys do, Eric Sprott just put $20 million into this company earlier this year to buy 10% of the company. That's what he thinks of it. This is a quick map of their property. The black line is the outline of their property. The red is the resource, and that's where production will come from. The yellow is exploration. If you can see the little circles there with the crossed mining hammers, those are past producing mines. So these guys are looking in a very prolific area, a very rich area. They're in the right area, and they're probably going to find more gold. Number two, I really like gold mining. This is a Mears company. There's the symbol. The reason I start with this chart is because there's the commodity bull market in the blue line, but look where they bought all their assets. They bought all their assets after the commodity bull market had ended. They bought during the bear market. They bought when they were cheap. And what that means is the stock is going to be repriced as gold and silver and the other metals move up in price. They have 10.5 million ounces in resources. If you count inferred, it's something like 22 million now. So they have a lot of gold and other assets. This is a land bank model. So the point is, this is how Ross Beatty started. This is how Bob Quartermain started. You probably know those names. This is how they got their start, how they made a lot of their money back in the day. Gold mining has several million ounce deposits, and that's exactly what majors are going to be looking for. A major is not going to be interested in buying something out that's less than 1 million ounces. Gold mining has several of them. All that buying that they did, you think they have a lot of debt, right? They have no debt after all that buying, and still $7 million in cash. Best of all, this is the average analyst 12-month price target for the stock, 475 Canadian. It's right now $1.11. That is 1 year from now. That's what these analysts think the price of the stock is going to be. Number three, SilverCrest Metals. Now, why would I recommend SilverCrest Metals again when I showed earlier that it was up 130%? Since January of 2018, the stock has tripled. So why would I still have it in there? Well, a few reasons. One, it's very big and high grade. The IRR at La Chispa is 78%. These guys are measuring many of their drill intercepts in not grams, but ounces. The sweet spot is still ahead. They're not going to even announce a construction decision until next year. Construction's a year after that, production is a year after that. Strong exploration potential. They have 36 veins. They've only looked at 10 so far. The stock's in strong hands. 3 out of every 4 shares is held by management, institutions, or SSR Mining. Louis James at independentspeculator.com. I would suggest SILV. I'm convinced it will be a highly profitable mine. The main point right now is they have operating permits from the new Mexican government, greatly de-risking it. So that shows you that even though the stock is up, this is still a very strong pick. And by the way, you can see he has a new service there, My Take. I'm a subscriber to that. You can check it out if you want. But because the stock has risen a lot, make sure you only buy on dips. Next is Mag Silver. Mag Silver is in the sweet spot right now. They've already declared construction decision. Production is going to be about this time next year. By year 2 of production, they'll be the largest world's primary silver producer. 70% of revenue will come just from silver. The thing to keep in mind is Mag only owns 44% of this. Fresnillo is the operator. They own 56%. This district might be one of the largest in the world. This could only be the beginning. Why? Because they've explored less than 10% of the property. Institutional investors, look at that, own 89% of the stock. David Morgan Report, that's a well-known name in our industry, right? He recommends this stock. John Hathaway, one of the best names in our industry. I think MAG is one of the best pure silver stories out there. I like this table. It's of every analyst that covers the company. And you can see the bottom right what their target price is for 12 months from now, almost $21 Canadian. That would entail a 67% rise in the stock just to meet the average of what these analysts expect this stock to do. A bonus silver pick, another one. I can't have this presentation without mentioning First Majestic Silver. This is a producer with 4 operating mines in Mexico. They'll have 5 next year. They do have 2 mines on care and maintenance. Very strong producer, high producer, low cost. The big thing about First Majestic right now is the HIG, or the high intensity grinding mill they've installed. What this essentially does is improve recoveries, and the recovery rates are even coming back higher than what they expected. Higher recovery rates means more silver at a lower cost. This is going to continue to grow with the company and get better and better. Half the stock is owned by Institutions Management and Wheaton Precious Metals. The 1-year target price of the average analyst is $13.42, which would be 25% rise from Friday's close. Now, why would I recommend a producer as the potential stock of the year? Because a producer usually doesn't move as much as a junior explorer or anything like that, right? This table shows you the estimated revenue that will come from silver production from each of these companies. Look who's on the far left. Next year, it is expected that First Majestic Silver, and this isn't me saying, this is BMO saying this, there will be more silver revenue coming from silver, from this company than most any other. And I think this is the one thing that's going to really drive this stock, because investors, including institutional investors, that when they want leverage to silver, this is one place they are definitely going to go. And here's the proof. In 2008 to 2011, silver rose 425%. First Majestic, almost 2,000%. In 2016, silver rose 53%. First Majestic, almost 10 times that. 2019, year to date, this is as of Friday, silver's up 16%, First Majestic up 82%. Next is Renaissance Gold. I really like this company. It's a prospect generator in Nevada. I do know the owners fairly well. This is a table showing that they are growing. They drilled 5 projects last year. They'll drill 6 to 8 this year. They've already made a new discovery at their Silicon project. They don't own it, though. They only get a royalty and a payment. But that payment, $2.4 million next year, will fund the company's all their efforts for the next 2 years with no dilution. I can tell you a lot of analysts that I know and talk to and read, a lot of them like this prospect generator. One reason being, look at the market cap, 12 million US. That's very, very low. Any kind of discovery or positive development in this could really push this stock a lot higher. This is a map showing all their properties. That's a map of Nevada. The green and yellow are all theirs. They have 23 properties in total. 8 are in deals right now. It's all in Nevada, a great jurisdiction. That's a buy for me. And a runner-up prospect generator, another pick, Midland Exploration. I also like this company and what they're doing. They have 6 joint venture projects right now, all funded by partners. BH Piloton just put almost $6 million in the stock just this year. Very experienced management and technical team. They have no debt, plenty of cash. Add it all up, the question you have to ask is, will Midland Exploration make the next major discovery in Quebec? No guarantees. But they have a lot of pieces in place to do that very thing. Stock's in strong hands. 2/3 of it's owned by management and institutions. If you pull up a price chart of the stock, you'll see it actually fell while gold was rising. So why is that? Well, this is not a gold is rising type of play. This is a discovery play. So you're betting on a discovery with this. And one more bonus pick. I have to have an explorer in here. If I had to give you just one explorer, it would be Liberty Gold. There's their mandate in that first bullet point there. This team has discovered and or advanced 8 different projects. Not 1, not 2, but 8. CEO Cal Everett, he's here. You can talk to him. This is a well-known powerhouse in Canada. Funds insiders Newmont and Teck own over 1/3 of the stock. Sprott just put in $13 million in this company this year. Sprott, Haywood, RBC, National Bank are all recommending this stock. The stock has tripled year to date so far, so only buy it on the dips. But this is a strong explorer. Their Black Pine deposit, you want to pay attention to that. This is a map of their properties. I don't have time to go into it. The Black Pine is up there in Idaho. That's probably their flagship right now. That's where they're having a lot of drilling success. That's the project we'll want to watch. Everything I just said, you can take it and throw it out the window and just buy gold and silver, and you'll still succeed, and at much lower risk. Let's face it, all the stock picks that I'm giving, those are speculative. Buying a mining stock is speculative. You can lose money. I could be wrong. People here could be wrong. You could just buy gold and silver and do just fine. You can play offense and defense with gold and silver and what I think is ahead. There's what happened to gold and silver in 1970. I can tell you at goldsilver.com, we are prepped and ready. We are primed and ready to go for the next bull market. We think we're on the cusp. And first thing is, we're writing a book, Mike Maloney and I. It'll be out the first part of next year. There's the title, The Great Gold and Silver Rush of the 21st Century. We think that tells you about what you need to know what we think about gold and silver. I encourage you to sign up for our newsletter because you can get our research. If you like Mike's videos or my articles or whatever, you can get that before we release it to the public. Right now, we have a free storage offer. A lot of you have asked me about storage. We have a free offer right now. You can store with us. Try it out for 6 months for free, clear till next May of 2020. There's the code at the bottom. For the next coin is, how many assets under management does Gold, Silver, and its parent company have? Anybody want to take a guess at that?
2.
1.5 billion. Little old Gold, Silver, and its parent, 1.5 billion assets under management. A lot of people are checking out our storage program. I can tell you that both institutional advisors, you can store the same place as central banks do with Brinks. I encourage you to check it out. You can try it for free for 6 months. If you don't like it, you can sell or take delivery. So nobody guessed. So I have 3 coins left. If you could tell me Mike Maloney's personal motto that's on the back of any of these coins, I will give you one of these coins, especially the Pegasus. So I'll be in the back. Thanks, everyone.